We asked 1,000 people to rate their attractiveness from 1 to 10. What do you think the average person's going to say? Probably like a 7. Not even, I'm not trying to do no 6, 7 joke, but like probably 6.5, 7. I think the average person would rate themselves a 7. Most people, I would assume, would rate themselves lower than the average person would rate them. Or much higher. There's no in between. You know, and I'm not saying there's any objective attractiveness scale. But say somebody is averagely rated a 7, they'll probably rate themselves a 6 or a 10. There's no in between. And I love self-love, right? And I love the idea of being happy with yourself. But whenever I do see videos of people like, rate how attractive you are, scale of 1 to 10. And they're like, 10. Don't you think that's a little cocky? You know? Like, that'd be like outwardly being like, yeah, I'm really fucking smart. Like, rating yourself a 10. Like, you're not even gonna, there's no, like, I think a level of self-love is like, I'm a 9, you know? But a 10? A 10? You think there's not, like, I mean, that'd be like, yeah, I'm a fucking genius. Just walking in. Yeah, I'm actually pretty fucking smart. I'd say, I think I'm better than the average person. I'd be like, whoa.
How attractive do you?
Depends how they say it. I agree. I agree. If they're like, how attractive are you? And then they go, well, for self-love, a 10. Versus like a cocky way that they say 10.
How attractive do you think you are on a scale from 1 to 10? We have asked 1,000 people this exact.
I would say I'm an 8. I would like, being genuine, I would say I think I'm an 8. I think average is a 7. Joe, you're a 1. Fuck you. I think I'm an 8. I'm not a 10. Chat. Stop. Thank you. Anyways, no, I would say I'm an 8 because I think average is a 7. And everybody always says average is a 5, and I've fucking gotten mad as shit about this before. You're never going to rate somebody a fucking 5 when you say average, okay? I think do you think men or women rate higher or lower? Maybe we'll see in this video. I got to stop yapping.
Question. But there's a problem. Most people asked on camera will say,
I'm a 10. All of us are 10.
10.
Damn.
Really? I would if somebody walked up to me on the street, what are you? I feel like the average person's not going to say a 10. I feel like women will rate themselves higher than men will. And I think women would rate men lower than men would rate women.
We wanted to find a way to get real honest answers. That's why we created our anonymous survey asking 1,000 people to rate their appearance as honestly as possible from 1 to 10. To get real results, we also reminded them to keep in mind that a 5 out of 10 is
No, it's not! No, it's not. Okay, for the premise of this video, fine, a 5 out of 10 is average. But bro, you know how disrespectful that is? To be like, yeah, you're an average looking guy. 5. Hey, how attractive do you think I am? I don't know, maybe a little bit below average. 3.5. I'd be like, bro, you're saying I look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You call me a 3.5. 7's average. 6 is below average.
Average score and not bad at all. We didn't
like, bro, 1 through 3 is you're fucking ugly. Bro, I don't think I've ever, maybe like you're gonna meet like 4 people in your life that you're like, yeah, you're a 2. That's fucked to be like, yeah, you're a 2.
Each person's age and gender, so we could compare the different groups later. And finally, for reference, we also asked each participant to rate this person in the photo from 1 to...
Ooh, what am I rating this guy? 9. I don't like the mustache. 6? Really? Maybe I'm too nice. I'm rating that guy a 9. That guy's attractive. That's an attractive man. Facial symmetry, he's got a good jawline, good hair. He has nice fashion sense. I like his eyes.
10, which will play an important role later.
6? You're rating this guy 6. What's your 10?
In the video. After collecting data for about 2 months.
God damn, dude, this world's cooked. You think that guy's a 6? I would say maybe you go 7.5. His chin's crooked? I mean, now we're just nitpicking. Now we're being mean.
After collecting data for about 2 months, we finally hit the goal of 1,000 participants. And the results were so much different from all the public street interviews you always see. Out of exactly 589 men and 411 women, the most common answer, as you might have guessed, was 7 out of 10. Nearly 20% of
Interesting. Interesting. The average person rates themselves a 7 because that's what an average is. That's pre-watch. I've been saying this for a year now.
For many, it's probably the safe zone. Not arrogant, but above average. On the other hand,
No, it's not above average. If you say you're a 7, you're thinking in your head, I'm an average-looking guy.
98 people
Nobody's going to go, I'm an average-looking guy and rate themselves a 5.
called themselves exactly
Bro, dead ass. Next most popular is a 5. It's because they said 5 was average.
average by rating themselves a 5 out of 10. And then there's
Yo, I'm going to get, like, pissed off, though, if people rate themselves a 1 or a 2. Like, you need better self-love. You know what I mean? Like, a 1 or a 2, bro, that's, like, fucked. I feel like if you rate yourself a 1, you misunderstood the scale. I feel like nobody's a 1 or a 2. Bro. If you rated yourself a 1, you misunderstood that as, like, a 10.
45 people
Are
gave
you kidding me?
themselves the lowest possible score, 1 out of 10. Most of them were men, by the way. More on that later. Now, let's look at the opposite side. 71 people gave themselves a
That's not surprising to me. That there's men that would rate themselves a 1. Men in their mid-20s that have mid-late 20s that have never had a girlfriend and just like always been so doubtful of themselves.
perfect 10. That means 7% of the 1000 participants believe they are basically the most attractive of them all. The rest of the scores are spread out in the middle range.
See, like that's yo, bro. I mean, this curve really just fucking proves my point. I think it's very fair to rate yourself like an 8. You see how big the drop-off is? Because once you get into the 9-10 territory, you're basically claiming to be like a model.
Resulting in an average score of 6.3 out of 10. In total, 678 participants gave themselves a 6 or higher. That means nearly 70% of people think they are better looking than average, which is mathematically impossible, but psychologically totally expected. A study from the university
I mean, it's mathematically impossible in a very objective sense, but attractiveness is so subjective. Like, if you yourself had every human put in front of you that was around your age, and you were to rate every single one of them, do you think you would rate do you think more than half or less than half of the population would be above 5? I feel like you would rate more people above a 5 than less.
University of Southampton, England, actually gave this behavior a name, the self-enhancement effect. It's a tendency to overestimate your own qualities, especially regarding attractiveness. But fear
All right, that guy's not a 10. I'd rate that guy like an 8.
regarding attractiveness. But theory aside, we wanted to test this directly. That's why every participant also had to rate the attractiveness of the reference person we included. As you can see, his ratings were all over the place.
Oh, 5? Nah, I need to see some of these motherfuckers. I'm getting mad. You're rating Big Dog here a 5? You're rating him a 5? You're rating yourself a 9? Did we pull people straight out of a fucking Calvin Klein model book? What are we doing? What do you mean? You're rating this guy a 5? This guy's attractive. He's low-key a 6. Zod, you're crazy. I would accept you saying he's like a 7, but you saying bro, motherfuckers rating him a 4? Nah, that actually pisses me off. And people wonder, and that's why half the world ain't dating anybody. That's why half the world, I mean, talk about, bro, you're rating a very above average looking man well below average.
18 people gave him a 1 out of 10, while 59 others gave him a 10. On average, he received a 5.8 out of 10. And if you paid attention, you might have noticed something. That's lower than the average self-rating of our participants. In fact, 654 participants out of 1000 rated themselves higher than they rated their reference.
I think that's good. I don't want to sit here and I don't think that people should have rated themselves lower. I think they should have rated him higher. Okay? That's the point I want to make. I think you praising your own attractiveness to a higher scale than average is good. I think that's like a more self-love.
Person. That's 2 out of 3 people who think they are more attractive than him. To put this into perspective, we had the face of our reference person professionally analyzed. We will spare you the full report, but it's linked in the description.
Wait, what? Professionally analyzed this guy's face? What do we have, a looks maxer on TikTok? Some dude selling a fucking Discord program? Yeah, I don't know. He might have to start a mewing program.
concluded that the sample person rates somewhere between a 6.0 and a 6.1. That means statistically...
You would hate the True Rate Me subreddit. Bro, I feel like if you're going on that, I feel like half the people that gotta be commenting on that are just like shitting on other people.
He should be more attractive than about 70% of participants.
If you want to know how attractive people think you are, don't go on Reddit. That's like you're gonna get shit on. People are gonna be like, yeah, you're fucking ugly. Even if you could be like a 9, people will be like, yeah, you're probably like a 5.
Or participants thought it was exactly the other way around, proving that the self-enhancement effect was very much present in our
Brady said Reddit would shit on you if you look like Zendaya. Bro, if you could mind wipe people and then just throw up a picture of Zendaya, people would be like, yeah, I don't know, maybe a 4.
Experiment. But the ratings of the reference person also revealed something else.
I'd be like, are you serious?
That's really important. Looks are incredibly subjective. 18 people rated him a 1 out of 10, while 59 others gave him a 10.
Oh, 1. Oh, 1. Now, I don't like those people, okay? I gotta say that if you're rating him a 1, are you serious? Like, he's the ugliest it gets, is how... the people are saying this guy is the most unattractive you could be. That's absurd. That's excessive. That's more than excessive. That ruins the scale. That means you're going into the negatives, because I could for sure fucking pull a random guy off the street that whoever rated this guy 1 would be like, ooh, wait, no, never mind. He's like a 6. Like, you're going to instantly bump him up.
18 people rated him a 1 out of 10, while
all the people that ranked him 1 ranked themselves a 10. Oh, 100%. These people are just cocky.
59 others gave him a 10, believing he's one of the most attractive people out there. You simply can't be everyone's type. And honestly, you're not supposed to be. No matter how you look, there will always be someone out there that sees you as a perfect 10 out of 10, even if 999 others don't. Okay, what's also really interesting is the differences between female and male participants. We had exactly 589 male participants with an average score of 5.9 out of 10, and 411 female participants averaging a score of 6.9 out of 10. But here...
I said that. I said men rate themselves a whole point lower.
But here's where the results completely surprised us. Out of the male participants, only 28 rated themselves a perfect 10 out of 10. In contrast, 43 female participants also gave themselves a perfect score. In relation, that means just 5...
I think it's because, as well, women are usually approached by men in, obviously, straight relationships. But, like, women are usually in a relationship sought after versus men, right? So men shoot a lot of free throws and airball a lot of them. And then you get very in your head that, like, you're ugly, boring, stupid, annoying, unfunny, right? Like, you get really insecure, comparable to, like, if you're a woman that's generally getting approached, you're never getting declined, right? I'm not saying that of all women. I'm just saying averagely, like, men usually go after women. Men are asking women on dates. Men are doing that. And that changes societally. But I'm saying, like, I think it's more common for a woman to rate themselves higher as well. Because I think social camaraderie. I think women support women. I think men don't support men, like, attractiveness-wise, right? Like, if you're going out with your female friend as a woman, your girlfriend's going to be like, you look so hot. You look amazing, right? When I go out with my friend, I'm not going to be like, damn, Chris, you got that fat ass on you. Let me see that thing. You know, like, I'm not going to like glaze him that hot. Oh my God, he's in chat. He's just spamming question marks. Anyways, my point stands. That it's like, it's more uncommon for a man to then compliment another man. So I think, like, women also boost each other, which is good. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just think, like, it's not shocking that men rate themselves lower.
5% of men rated themselves at the very top, while over 10% of women did the same, meaning that they were more than twice as likely as men to rate themselves a perfect 10. Additionally, the total average score of the woman was also nearly 1 whole point higher, and we're not alone with this finding. A 2018 study titled "Almost Every Woman Thinks She's Hotter Than Average," yes, that's the actual title, found that 94% of women believe they are more attractive than the average woman. But why? The most common theory explaining this phenomenon is called the social feedback loop. Women usually tend to get way more positive feedback and praise about their looks. This kind of overly positive feedback, combined with the self-enhancement effect, could explain the significant differences in 10 out of 10 ratings we saw in our experiment between male and female participants. But how about the lowest score?
Yeah, like, you're never really, like, bro, if you're a woman in a given day, there's gonna be people that are, like, dickheads about your attractiveness on social media, but you're also, like, dude, even just, like, Instagram posts. Like, if a woman posts on Instagram, a lot of the comments are from their friends being like, you look so good, right? Oh my God, amazing, slay, right? Whatever it may be. A guy, it's like the comments just have nothing to do with it, you know? But I think that's just how people function socially.
In total, 45 people rated themselves a 1 out of 10, which statistically speaking is also pretty unrealistic. But here's the really interesting part. Of those 45 people, 34 were men and only 11 were women. Even in relation, that means that men are twice as likely to rate themselves at the very bottom. But again, why? It might have a lot to do with body.
Wouldn't that be 3 times as likely, or am I fucking stupid? Men are twice as likely to rate themselves a 1. Wouldn't it be 3 times? That's almost 3 times. It's more than 3 times. It'd be 33 if times 3. Rating yourself a 1 out of 10 is a bit extreme. Dude, that's what I'm saying. I think, like, the lowest you could rate yourself is like a 4. Respectfully. I think if you're rating yourself a 1, 2, or 3, you're crazy.
Are twice as likely to rate themselves at the very bottom. But again, why? It might have a lot to do with body image pressure. The fitness industry, Instagram aesthetics, and the whole high-value male culture constantly push the idea that you need to be tall, shredded, rich, with a perfect face, or you don't measure up.
Well, you could also look back at, like, if you go back, like, 80 years or so to, like, early bodybuilder era, not, like, pre-Arnold, right? Like, male fitness magazine type stuff. The average guy shown on that magazine had less muscle than me, right? The average person, the average male was just not dad bod, but, like, everybody looked the same, right? In terms of physique. Now I feel like people range so widely in type, what they want to look like, how big they want to be, how jacked they want to be, how in shape they want to be. So it's just like, now it's so subjective, especially with social media. I think with social media with men as well, and it's the same thing with dating apps. Men view themselves lower because the average man gets, like, no game on social media or dating apps. I think it's like the top 5 or 10% of men get, like, 85% of matches on social media apps, whereas women, it's much more widespread. That goes back to my point of, like, men going after women, right? Like, if you're, like, a top 10% man, you'll get all the matches, but if you're, like, even if you're, like, a 7 out of 10, people are just gonna fucking no. So you're always going, like, well, there's always somebody better than me. Right. There's always going to be somebody that's better than me. And so you just doubt yourself.
And while women often tend to get more external validation and compliments, men sadly tend to suffer in silence. Which might explain why so many guys in our survey felt like they were at the bottom, even when that's statistically and visually not even close to the truth. Okay, you might remember that we also asked the participants to give us their age, just to see if there are any differences. But we didn't expect the result.
I think the older the person, the higher they'll rate themselves. I think teenagers would rate themselves the lowest because they're the most insecure at that era, right? I think the older you get, the more comfortable you would be within your own looks.
To be so drastically different. We divided the participants into 3 age groups: 15 to 20 years old, 21 to 30 years old, and 31 years and older.
I feel like actually, lowest, highest, most average. Because I think it's like insecurity leading into just high ego self-praise. Leading into, like, now you're fully just settled in yourself.
Can you guess which group had the highest average score? The lowest is the score of the youngest age group, being just 5.2 out of 10. In the middle, we have the 21 to 40-year-olds.
Should have stuck with my first guess.
Averaging a 6.1.
Average 5.2.
1 out of 10. And the 31 years and older scored the highest average.
7.3. The average 31-year-old rated themselves as 7.3.
At 7.3 out of 10. As you might have noticed, the older the participants were, the higher they rated themselves. But why is that? Younger generations have grown up in a world where every face is filtered and every body retouched. Everything is just a highlight reel from someone else's life, not reality. And over time,
I don't understand the purpose of people using like Facetune. Because what does it achieve? You know? Like, you're getting likes on social media, but you know you don't look like that. And then it ruins the whole environment of people being able to feel like themselves, because now everybody just edits their own photos to look a specific way. It's different from like a filter or removing like acne. I'm saying like people like dead ass photoshopping their images.
Time that destroys your self-image. The younger you are, the more you tend to compare your looks to others. But as people get older,
I mean, like, bro, like, are you serious? These people are models. Like, they have fully symmetrical faces. Where the fuck did they just go? Like, these people have fully symmetrical faces.
Tend to compare your looks to others. But as people get older, looks usually play a smaller role in how we see ourselves. Confidence starts to come from other things, like caring for people you love. So that concludes the experiment we've been running over the past 3 months. If you appreciate the work and time we put into this, then please leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to understand how others actually perceive your face, check out our website link below.
Do you think... I think the rating would change too, depending on the individual's personality. I think I've said this before, and I'll agree with other people that'll say this, that I think looks is first and foremost what people notice about you. But after they get to know you, I think it would change. Like, if you would rate somebody a 9 and then they're a douchebag, like, you're probably going to bump them down to like a 7, right? Or like a 6. Or vice versa. If they're a 6, but they're like the most interesting person you've ever met, now they're an 8. You know? That was a fucking good video. Next.